Welcome to the dfree in the Black podcast. My name is DeForest Soares Jr., but my friends call me Buster, and my enemies do too. My co-host is Tamika Stembridge, brilliant attorney and all things genius. There is no greater cause than the cause that invites Black people to financial freedom. We want our people to be in the black. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the dfree in the Black podcast. We remind you that being in the black means that you own more than you owe, and that you have some money left at the end of whatever period you're measuring. It's not just for Black people, but it's aimed at Black people because, you know, we have, like, for instance, Black Friday, which is a misnomer because Black Friday is when we are normally go into debt. And we want Black Friday to be in the Black Friday. We'll tell you more about that in weeks to come. But we're here today. I'm here with my co-host of many years, attorney Tamika Stembridge. Tamika, how are you?
I'm well. How are you, sir?
I'm wonderful. I'm excited. I've been trying to catch up with our guests for some time. And we're kind of like ships passing in the night, but finally we're connected, and she is just one of the most innovative and intellectual people I know. And when you hear her, I'm sure you're going to want to stop working with me and start working with her because she's just got that magnetism. She's involved in an aspect of the cannabis industry. You know, we talked to James Jackson some months ago about cannabis. That was before it was legal.
Right. And
now it's legally legal. Our guest today is Nichelle Santos, and she is connected to the industry in a unique way. Nichelle, welcome to the dfree in the Black podcast.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Soares, for having me on today. I'm so excited to talk about this transformational time, this pivotal moment in history as we look at the emerging market of cannabis and the opportunities that it brings. Entrepreneurs are being created, tax revenue is being created for the state. It's increasing folks in the labor force. So how do we move during this transformational time to get from what we saw as criminalization of marijuana against Black and brown communities to monetization to be part of this green rush?
I love that. The green
Tamika,
rush.
that's your kind of talk. You said two things that resonate with Tamika, from criminalization to monetization. See, that she's got a little Jesse Jackson rhyme in her. And then the green rush. I love that. I love that green rush imagery. Yeah.
Absolutely.
We're in here for the gold rush, but we can be part of the green rush. You know, if you didn't make it big in cryptocurrency, you can make it in the green rush. If you didn't make it big with the World Wide Web when it first emerged, this is now another opportunity. So it's time for us to strategize, unify, and how can we aggregate capital to get involved in this industry.
So listen, I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the amazing logo that you're wearing. CannaCoverage, your business. Normally, I think the last time I've ever seen an umbrella in some kind of marketing, it was an insurance company. And so I'm going to assume that CannaCoverage is related to insurance, but tell us a little bit about your business and kind of your angle, because there are so many opportunities to be in the business. I think your kind of corner of the market is really intriguing.
Yes, absolutely. We love our logo. It's the umbrella because we have you covered with a little beautiful flower in the middle. We are CannaCoverage. We focus on, and I'm the founder and CEO of CannaCoverage, and we specialize in bringing risk management strategies. But it's really important that as folks, those who are fortunate enough to obtain a cannabis license, it's important that they receive education on how to run a business, get capital, and then how do you best protect all the assets of your business? Because we see so much in the industry where people are putting in their personal funds, they're going to their retirement accounts, they're borrowing money from their mom, and they're also getting bank loans from those who are in banking, venture capitalists. And then on the flip side, you got funding, but what about protecting those assets? So we want to protect the business so that one bad day doesn't put you out of business. We see out in California, dispensaries that have been robbed, smash and grabs. People have been killed during transportation of the cash, because it's a cash business. And then public health and safety. So we want to make sure that manufacturers are using safe products for their edibles, safe products for consumption of the flower. So there's compliance and risk management strategies that need to be employed as you go through standing up the framework of your business.
What we found generally as we help people deal with money issues is that Black people have a tendency to be underinsured. I don't think we value insurance as much as we should in any area, and therefore we don't understand it. So break down for us some examples, some specific examples of why I would need to come to you to get an insurance policy within that cannabis industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're 100% correct on our community. We have an aversion to insurance, whether it's life insurance, having proper renter or homeowners insurance. You cannot go to a car dealership and buy a new car and leave without having auto insurance.
Right.
If it wasn't mandatory, there would be a lot more folks driving uninsured, which is an issue across the country. So commercial businesses all require proper insurance, general liability, property, product liability if they're providing food or food and beverage or selling products that people will consume. So it's very important that the same happen in the cannabis industry. It's required in the alcohol industry, pharmaceutical, tobacco, all those insurances have to be employed. Why would cannabis be any different? So it can be costly depending on the magnitude of your business. However, it is the cost of doing business, and it has to be properly budgeted so that you're prepared for when a day does happen. Now, what we do at CannaCoverage, we help you implement risk management strategies. We'll provide a risk assessment to identify any gaps in your business plan and your standard operating procedures. We want to ensure that you have proper compliance. We identify those gaps and help you mitigate those risks. We want to make sure all programs are in writing. It becomes part of the culture, and you do that with training and documenting. So if you ever get audited, if your cannabis business is audited, you can show that these are our programs as part of our culture. We have signs up that we follow these procedures so that it truly is part of the culture of your business to increase in efficiency, public health and safety. And then the third step is risk transfer. So in the event that there is a claim, your business can recover financially. You're transferring that risk to an insurance carrier, and that's our 3-step process: risk assessment, risk mitigation, and risk transfer.
I know you said you touch all aspects of the cannabis industry. What's the bulk of your business right now, or kind of how has it progressed as things have become more legal?
Well, CannaCoverage is a national brokerage firm. So we have clients across the country. Here in New Jersey, we have cultivation dispensaries. Manufacturing is still being stood up. We're waiting for the CRC, which is the Cannabis Regulatory Commission. On June 15th, they will open up the portal for applications for transportation so that folks can start to have delivery services for cannabis. So think about Uber and cannabis, DoorDash, and all these apps that are popping up. The same opportunities exist in the cannabis industry. So we handle all the businesses that are plant touching, from cultivation to manufacturing, the dispensaries, transportation, but also all of the ancillary businesses, your law firms, accounting firms, banking is big. They have to all have professional liability insurance as well. That's cannabis specific.
Wow.
So you can see these law firms getting into the business, but no one wants to pay that extra premium until something happens. So
yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the mechanics of your business, because you describe yourself as a national firm. I happen to know that insurance is a heavily regulated business. You no doubt have had to be licensed state by state. Talk about how you got your business started and what it took to build from beginning to where you are now.
Yes. So I've been in the insurance industry for over 20 years. I started out on the risk management side of the house, and then really developed an affinity for chemical manufacturers, working in manufacturing plants. I just love the energy on the floor and seeing how things were made, just the engineering behind it. So in that role, I really got to know all the standards and regulations, Code of Federal Regulations, Occupational Safety and Health, known as OSHA, EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, DEP, how you handle hazardous waste from cradle to grave, and process safety management. So each step of the process, what are the risks and how do we mitigate those risks and lessen that exposure? So the same thing applies here in the cannabis industry, that standards have to be developed. It is, decentralized because cannabis is being legalized state by state. So there's no national standard. And CannaCoverage, we had to get our license in each one of those states where adult recreational use is legal, as well as medical marijuana is legal. So that's been quite a process. We're licensed in about 15 states as of now.
To make a lot of people want to just jump out there and be in business and don't understand that it's work. It's not glamour, it's work. The glamour can come if you're successful, but the work has to come whether you're successful or not. And that's what I love about Nichelle. She is thorough. She's gone deep into it, and she's not just out there waving a flag. She's got her background. Folks, you can learn more about her background because she's done much more than we're discussing today. We had to limit this discussion to her cannabis practice, but she's much more than a cannabis practitioner. And Nichelle, what is your website that people can learn about you?
Yes, well, we're www.cannacoverage.net. So CANNA coverage, COVERAGE.net, NET. You can learn about me on LinkedIn.
Right.
So we built quite a team at CannaCoverage. Two of us, me and my co-founder, Jeff Booker, who's COO, as well as Stephanie Montgomery. She's our legal consultant and has an extensive background as as an attorney and a litigator in environmental claims in the insurance industry. Our chief technology officer, and then we have account representatives in various states as well to really round out our team.
As we round out and close out the interview, I have for our listeners, they'd like to know before they make the leap to the website, what was the one thing that drew you from traditional insurance or traditional practice into the cannabis industry?
I felt it was really important as we see folks that are going from the legacy market or the illicit market to the legal market. And they are receiving licenses. And I want to really increase the awareness and the necessity of your business acumen, how to get capital, how to get funding, and then how to protect that properly to increase your resilience of your business, as well as the sustainability for success. So we especially want to see Black and Brown people thrive with the opportunities that are before us.
The idea that you start with a risk assessment is critical because you're essentially going into business because you have a dream, you have a vision, and you have these goals. But your risk assessment forces you to deal with worst case scenario, what if certain things happen, which are things that we often ignore until they happen.
Until they happen, right?
Yeah, until they happen. And people like Nichelle can really spare a lot of us a lot of pain, a lot of anxiety, and a lot of embarrassment because they force us to answer the tough questions on the front end. And a good plan, therefore, can be made as a result of that assessment. I'm so impressed, Nichelle, that you would get into a kind of baby industry with all of your experience, but you've done it because you see the opportunity. How big is this industry likely to become? Not just the insurance aspect, but how big is the cannabis industry likely to become?
Oh, the cannabis industry will become $1 trillion industry, no doubt. We're looking at billions per state. And eventually there will be federal legalization. So when all of the 51 states are legalized, we need to be ready. And I'm so happy to have the conversation with the dfree community. And let's continue this because there are many opportunities to get involved. Again, you don't have to be part of the plant touching community. We need more scientists for creating laboratories for quality control. We need more thought leadership in the legal industry, accounting, and banking, and of course, insurance.
Absolutely. Well, there's your invitation, folks, to think about as we talk about opportunities for career advancement, for entrepreneurship, for additional streams of income, or just awareness of different industry opportunities. We've been talking about the cannabis industry, but Nichelle brings another aspect of it that we haven't really considered. We talk about life insurance and health insurance and disability insurance all the time, but business insurance, particularly in this industry, is really important. So I just want to thank you so much for offering who you are and what you do to our dfree community. It's really been great.
Right. Thanks so much. I've enjoyed this, and we plan to stay in touch with you because you're going to be our resident expert on this whole area. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much. I look forward to it.
Tell us your website again so that people can hear it.
www.cannacoverage.net.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Nichelle Santos, everyone. Thanks for listening to the dfree in the Black podcast. Stay tuned for our next episode. Thank you for listening to this episode of the dfree in the Black podcast, the pulse of mental, spiritual, and financial health. Be sure to share, like, and subscribe on whichever streaming platforms you get your podcast.